We all know that Sony lenses are incredible. They're fast, compact, razor sharp, and potentially the best first-party lenses available. That said, they come at one significant drawback: the price. These Sony lenses can set you back upwards of $3,000. And if you were to buy the perfect zoom combo, the 24-70 G Master Mark II and the 70-200 G Master Mark II, that would set you back about $5,500. And frankly, we can't always drop that amount of money just on two lenses. That's where these Sigma, or just third-party lenses in general, come into play. So I just snagged the popular 24-70 f2.8 art lens, as well as their brand new 70-200mm f2.8 lens from B&H Photo to see how do these stack up to proper first-party glass. And I wanted to test this specifically because you can buy both the 24-70 Sigma and the 70-200mm Sigma lens for the price of just one Sony 70-200mm G Master lens. So to start testing, I met up with Drew and Abby to see how well these lenses hold up for photography. I noticed immediately that Drew was drawn to the 70-200mm first. And even though it is a bit heavier than the Sony counterpart, it definitely seemed well balanced, or at least according to Drew. So now that you've used this lens for just a couple of different shots here, what do you think of it so far? Is it too heavy?
No, honestly, this thing is super lightweight. If you've had any, unless you got a 70-200 within the last couple of years, this is going to be a tremendous upgrade from what you have.
And if I take a look at some of the photos that Drew got in Lightroom, you'll notice that these photos quality on the 70-200mm is really nice. And if we go over to this other photo here, again, nice and sharp, no real complaints. And honestly, when I was looking at other people's reviews of the 70-200mm, they were all saying that the chromatic aberration control on this lens is superb and potentially even better than the Sony counterpart, which was definitely interesting.
Okay, now let's talk about chromatic aberration. I was really impressed with the Sigma. If we punch right in here, we can see that the Sony has great control over chromatic aberration, but the Sigma is even better. I'm a little bit closer than the Sony again because of close focusing, but we can see that over here, the Sigma on the left, it looks really neutral. I'm just seeing black and white.
Now, Drew is a really amazing portrait photographer, and if you're judging how the photos look in terms of the color, just know that I edited them, so if they're not quite up to Drew Photos standards, that is why, but I did my best. I think that the photos seem to come out quite nice with that 70-200mm lens. I mean, you can really see it here in her eyelashes and her eyes. I mean, it picked up her eye, no problem. And it is really sharp. And also, if we look at a photo taken with the 24-70, just look how crisp her eyes are in this photo. You're really not losing quality shooting with these Sigma lenses. That said, I do understand that one of the main issues with getting a third-party lens versus a first-party lens is autofocus performance. Typically, these lenses just aren't as fast and they're just not as accurate. And is that the case now? Honestly, I don't think so, especially with this newer 70-200mm Sigma lens. They seem to have fixed that issue. To test this, I did take out my very energetic 8-month-old puppy to take some photos of him, and you'll notice that these photos came out fine. It found his eye and it was able to focus to it even when he was going absolutely berserk, as you can see in this photo. The A7R5 with the Sigma 70-200 combo had no issue keeping up with him at all. Now, to be honest with you guys, the 24-70 is a bit older of a lens, being about 3-ish years old, so it definitely was a little bit slower or more sluggish than the 70-200mm. However, it really wasn't that slow at all, and as you can see from this photo, it also kept up just fine, even with my crazy dog. But I actually cheated a bit with this photo. It actually originally looked like this. Obviously a big difference there, and I was able to achieve this enhanced look with today's video sponsor, Luminar Neo. It's this super cool photo AI editor that allows you to enhance your photos, and I'll quickly show you how it works. So what's really cool about Luminar Neo is that it works directly with Lightroom and Photoshop. So if I select, let's say, this photo here, and I go up to File, Plug in Extras, and Open in Luminar Neo, it's going to pause Lightroom Classic Classic, and then open it up in Luminar. And then from here, we can make a few different changes. Off the bat, they do have some presets, so we can go ahead and like browse through a few of these, like Easy Landscape Collection. That's kind of cool. So we're gonna go ahead and select that one and then go to our Edit tab. From here, this is where the AI stuff gets kind of nuts. So let's go ahead and start with sky. So as you can see, we have a lot of different skies to choose from. It's good to pick a sky that kind of matches your scene. So let's say we like this sky right here. It kind of works with the scene. The light is over here and it is casting that way. So it all does make sense. If for some reason you needed the sun to be on the other side, you can just flip it. Also, you can move it around, which is kind of nuts. So you can find the best spot that works for your photo. Let's just say right there. Additionally, you do have this enhance option. This is just like a one slider fix all kind of a thing. So you can just kind of crank it and see what it's doing. It's doing a lot. Maybe we just want a little bit. And then also sky enhancer is just gonna add contrast into your sky. So you do have your develop, which is just gonna be your typical stuff, but you do have a lot of interesting things in here. For example, atmosphere, you can add in fog into your image, which there already is some kind of atmosphere going on, but we can add in more and then change how much or how little the photo it's affecting, which is kind of neat. Haze kind of makes more sense for this scene. So we can add in some haze. I like that. Another really cool thing that you can do to your photos is add in sun rays. So we just turn that on. It's gonna stick it in a random spot, which doesn't really make sense for our photo because the sun is somewhere over here, but you can place the sun center. So you can kind of see like, it should probably be over here. We probably want it to angle with this light angle that we already have. And as you can see, the before and the after, quite a stark difference from where we started. Now, I did go ahead and edit a few other photos just so that you guys can see more what it's capable of. Here we have Abby, and as you can see, if I turn her off and turn it on, and what's really cool about this is that you do have portrait targeting things, so you can fix certain things like adding in more light on the face, which actually is nice in this photo. And one last one I'll show you. Here's a picture I got when I was up in Canada of this boat or ferry going through the lake, and there's the before and there's the after. And one thing to note is that look at the water, right, and the sky. So you can see the colors that you have in the sky, and then you can see that that's actually being added into the water, which is kind of nuts. So it does understand how reflections work with the sky versus water, and it works really well. So if you guys are looking to make your photos a bit larger than life and enhance them in really cool ways, definitely check out Luminar Neo. I'll have a link down below in the description. Okay, so these lenses are great for photography, but what about video? Well, no surprise, they're actually great for video as well, particularly the 70-200 millimeter. And the reason for that is the focus breathing control on the 70-200 is pretty amazing. Now, typically with these Sony cameras, you do get focus breathing control on native glass, but that is not an option with third-party lenses. So you need the lens itself to be well controlled, and it is. It honestly looks great, and you barely notice it if you notice it at all. That said, one of the particular downsides for video with these Sigma lenses is that they don't have a linear focus ring, and that can definitely be a bit annoying if you're doing manual focus. However, again, the autofocus in video is fantastic, and I had no problems with it. So honestly, I'm not sure how much of an issue that would really be, at least for me. So yeah, should you forget Sony native glass in favor of third-party lenses like the Sigma 24-70 and the 70-200? Well, not 100% of the time. In my experience, Sony native glass, again, is superb, and it is roughly 5 to 10% better than all third-party lenses across the board. And additionally, if you're using a higher end Sony body like the A9 Mark III or the Sony A1, Sony does limit your photos per second in burst mode to about 15 photos per second versus what the camera is actually capable of, which is definitely a bummer. So if you're watching this video and you lean more towards the high-end photographer, let's say maybe you shoot sports or you're shooting cars or something along those lines, you should probably still be getting native Sony glass. And again, it is definitely better. There's just no debating. But honestly, for the rest of us, these are still a great option. They are nearly as good. You do substitute a few things, like again, these lenses are a bit heavier and the sharpness is not quite as sharp. The Sony lenses are still a bit sharper, but if you save $1,500 a lens, you can use that money to invest in either more lenses, lighting, or whatever other camera equipment you may need, especially if you're getting started. But guys, that's just my opinion. Definitely let me know what you think of first-party versus third-party lenses. Are you a first-party lens snob, or are you okay with third-party lenses as well? Definitely let me know. And hit that subscribe button. I'm on the road to 100,000 subscribers, and it would mean a lot if you guys stuck around. I hope that you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Take it easy, guys.